Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. My name is Christine Anderson. I work here at the Office of Children and Family Services in the Division of Youth Development and Partnerships for Success as the Anti-Trafficking and Runaway and Homeless Youth Program Coordinator. In that role, I also serve as the program manager for the Safe Harbor New York program, which is what brings me here with you today on this beautiful morning of Summit. This morning's presenters. The first is Melanie Portocante, and she is currently an adjunct professor at Russell Sage College, teaching in the Forensic Mental Health program. She teaches suicide prevention, human trafficking, and grant writing. She also serves as our Schenectady County Safe Harbor Coordinator, advocating for trafficked individuals. She's involved with Heal Trafficking based out of Mass General. She's presented nationally and internationally to members of the academic, medical, and general community. She also provides guidance to area hospitals on human trafficking, identification and treatment, and she has designed system-wide training and on-site screening for suspected victims. She also served as the director for the New York State Office of Mental Health Suicide Prevention Initiative until 2014. One of her co-presenters is Nicole Consiglio, and she has been the Albany County Safe Harbor Coordinator since May of 2020. And prior to that, she worked for 5 years as an Albany County CPS worker and then 2 years doing case management services for the youth in foster care. In October 2022, she will be transitioning to a position with Albany Crime Victims and Sexual Violence Center, where she will continue to work with the Safe Harbor as the Safe Harbor Coordinator, as well as coordinate services at the Albany County Child Advocacy Center. I'm going to turn it over to them and take it away, guys.
Okay, welcome everybody. Today we're going to be presenting on something that's near and dear to our hearts as Safe Harbor coordinators. It's working with our community on innovations in positive youth development for trafficked youth. And all of the presenters that you're going to hear in our presentation are all agencies we have worked with who have served our trafficked youth. So we've got a lot of interesting things for you to hear. So let us begin. We're going to start with Albany County Safe Harbor. So next slide. Okay, so Nicole, as we said, is the Albany County Safe Harbor Coordinator, and with her is Jolyn Backus, who defected over from Schenectady County. I used to do a lot of programs with her, and now is the Coordinator of Community Education with the Albany Crime Victim and Sexual Violence Center. So let's hear what they have to say about what is working and what they're doing in Albany County in positive youth development. Next slide.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So like Melanie said, I am the coordinator of community education at Albany County Crime Victim and Sexual Violence Center. And so we provide free and confidential services to victims of crime and their families in Albany County. So we do trauma therapy. We have 4 clinicians that see clients throughout the week. We have case management services where we kind of provide those wraparound services and advocacy with housing, DSS, CPS, whatever they might need, employment services. We have our family advocacy at the Children's Advocacy Center. So we support minors who are there for interviews and forensic exams. If they choose to go the criminal justice route, we have our court advocates who serve as liaisons to the DA's office and the police department and can be in court with them to kind of be a support person. We also run our 24-hour sexual assault hotline, and we do ER accompaniments to Albany Med if a victim comes in of either domestic violence, sexual violence, or suspected human trafficking. We have advocates that go in and support them, make sure they know their rights and their options, and try to make them as safe as we can possibly do. We also do prevention programs and community outreach. We do tablings throughout Albany County. We go into the schools. Currently, we are in Bern, Bethlehem, Farnsworth Middle School, Voorheesville, and Albany High, doing presentations from consent to bullying to bystander intervention. And then we also have our campus coordinator who works with victims who are college students. And then I'll turn it to Nicole just to quickly talk about what Safe Harbor does in Albany County, and then we could talk about the programs that we have been doing, particularly with St. Anne's.
Sure. Thank you, Jolene. So when I came on board as the Safe Harbor coordinator a few years back, I noticed that I was very familiar with services in Albany County, but I noticed there wasn't a lot of specialized services for our trafficked or at-risk trafficking youth. So I've worked with crime victims in the past, and I thought it was a very natural partnership for us to kind of work together as a team and to create some actual specialized services. So we partnered on a lot of different levels. We started to do more advocacy work, a plan of how we can get advocates to connect with traffic victims in the hospital. And we also wanted to work on some community prevention and awareness to our youth in our residential programs. Here in Albany County, we have a few different large residential treatment facilities, and we noticed that there was a trend in a lot of our youth AWOLing out of those facilities and getting themselves in some really unsafe situations. So we wanted to, kind of address it right at the heart and start doing some groups in the residential treatment facilities. So I got myself certified in Love 146 and Girls Circle, and we started incorporating those. I pulled Jolene along and said, come on, you got to help me in this. Let's do this. So we've started doing them at St. Anne's Institute. And we've had some talks of doing in other residential treatment centers, and we've had some really great success stories. And the great thing about these particular curriculums is that there's a lot of, flexibility in them. They're curriculums where we're not just preaching and lecturing and telling youth what to do. We're kind of teaching them in a way where they're learning from themselves. And I know from the times that we've done them, me and Jolene have kind of learned that the key is flexibility, and every group of youth that we are teaching have their own different individual needs. So we've been able to kind of tweak them, make them appropriate for the group. I love the fact that every time we start a group, no one's happy to be there. They're all coming in. Why are we here? Why do we have to sit through another group and blah, blah, blah. And we feel it out. We say, are they ready to jump right into the curriculum? Should we have a day of just kind of introducing ourselves, have a little fun, let them get to know us a little bit, make it not so scary for them. So we kind of come from that point where it's every class is different and we're flexible with it. And we've seen that each week they're a little less resistant, and then like halfway through we start to see them actually engaging. And we love the fact when they start answering questions for each other, because really that's what this curriculum is designed to do, is not us teaching them, but for them to kind of come up with the answers on their own and work together. So we always see like that transition in the middle of the session where the girls start to teach each other. And that's been a huge, that's been really powerful for us to see. But I also think it's really giving them the tools that they need to move forward. And we've been really enjoyed doing it. And I think we're getting some momentum, right, Jolene?
Absolutely. And like Nicole said, we kind of meet them where they're at. The first group was amazing, and they really were engaged and got into the Not a Number curriculum, and we were able to just go with that curriculum. And it was amazing to see their engagement and them coming each week and being excited about what we were learning. And then when we tried it for a second time, there was a lot of pushback on the Not a Number curriculum and the sexual exploitation term itself. And so we decided to kind of change things up a little bit and make it into more of a support and empowerment group. So we take a little bit from the curriculum, but we talk about boundaries and vulnerabilities. And again, we ask them what they're interested in learning about, and we kind of take our key from there. For instance, our first week there, we had some kind of alarming things being said in regards to things that they should know through sex education. And so we partnered with Upper Hudson Planned Parenthood, and we had one of their educators come in and talk about sex education and birth control and STIs. And it was very interesting because as soon as we brought that person in, everybody's like, well, why do we need to know this? And I don't need this information. And then as soon as Brittany started talking, everybody was asking questions and everybody was getting more engaged and getting hands-on with learning the different birth control methods, with trying to put the condom on their piece. So it was really interesting to see. We definitely got a lot of feedback that they were taking what we were saying to heart. Like we had a girl talk about realizing that she can now see a lot of the red flags that were in a relationship she was in. And so it was really amazing to see that. So they were definitely listening, and they really got a lot out of it. And we had participants who came every week and they said, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And, we gave them the option. We always told them that this was fully voluntary. And if they didn't really want to be there, we were not forcing them. And then she stayed, and she ended up helping us kind of teach the class, answering questions and talking to the other participants and becoming a leader. And so it was really amazing to see.
Do you need your slides advanced yet?
Probably.
Okay.
So I think there was one. Yeah, that I know Nicole already talked a lot about that.
Yeah, these are just the services that Safe Harbor here in Albany County makes available, plus, many other things that, we do as well. But yeah, that's what we're doing. We'd like to start doing groups more. We think we see a lot of value in it. We think that this education is really for anyone and everyone. And Jolyn is so wonderful getting into the schools and really getting out there and connecting with schools so that hopefully we can get it, everywhere in Albany County and moving forward.
Yeah.
And just a little question for Jolyn. Since you and I have had a long history of working together, you've done some really neat things like poetry slams and some of the other activities you offer in the community that our trafficked youth could and have been involved in the past. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those neat things that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of love event planning and organizing. So particularly for October and April, as Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we do a lot of different activities. We do art workshops where survivors can come in and do a lot of painting and mandala coloring and stuff like that to learn more about the importance of art as part of healing. We have done poetry events where participants are able to come in and read poetry. We try to keep it more positive, so about their strength and their triumph over their trauma, but they are able to write about whatever they want. We do journaling groups. We have also had in the past a dance event where local dance companies have performed to songs about survivorship and survival. So we have done that, and we've also have them do interpretive dance to spoken word survivor stories. So it's a really powerful way of telling a victim story in a new way.
Thank you. Next slide. Okay.
This is just our contact information. If you want to get a hold of us, feel free to reach out anytime.
Yeah, and these are some of the things that we are doing in the schools and in residential facilities. We do book clubs, particularly with Albany High, but I'm trying to get it in other places where they read books along these different topics. This year, school year, we're doing Speak and Shout by Lori Halls Anderson. So we're talking about those stories, and the school has been amazing and has paid for the authors to come in to do Q&A sessions and activities with the kids. Last school year, we did Bad Romance by Heather Demetrios, and she was able to Zoom in, and it was a really great conversation. And it's so amazing to see that kids actually want to talk about this. We had 40 participants and gave away 40 books to these kids, and they were talking about it in their classrooms. They came up with some really insightful questions for the author, so it was really fantastic to see. We have been talking about doing kind of like salons where we're in a library or a specific place during lunch periods, and people can come to just talk about what's on their mind, discuss any issues they're having in the school. We're going to be doing some panels and forums for both parents and students in particularly South Colony High School, but we're definitely willing and wanting to expand that, pushing into classes again, talking about the different topics, consent, boundaries, healthy relationships. We are also available to meet with students one-on-one if that is what they need. A lot of times we work this out through the guidance department or the school counselors. So we're just really excited to be out in the community and go wherever they'll have us to talk about this.
Thank you so much, Jolynn. Okay, next slide. Okay, so as we said, I am the Schenectady County Safe Harbor Program, and sometimes our programs cross county boundaries. I do a lot of one-to-one work with our survivors and their families going into the homes, as well as our programs that we're going to be talking about out in the community. And I do a lot of training and education, as you probably could tell. So let us go and talk about those other programs that we're doing. Next slide. Okay, so the next slide is Albany Therapeutic Riding Center, and Lauren, the mental health counselor, is not able to join us today, but Albany Therapeutic Riding is a program that's near and dear to my heart. I was one of the founding members way back in 1981, and I'll tell you the story about that. But how does it involve trafficked youth? Well, and next slide, please. And we'll show this in just a minute. We had one trafficked youth in Schenectady County who has a lot of behavioral issues and found a lot of things hard to engage in. But her day program therapist said in one of our team meetings that the young woman, who you'll see at the end of this thing, really loved horses. They had gone to visit a horse farm. So I said, let's try equine therapy with her. And we did. And it really, well, it didn't solve all of her problems. It gave her a brief respite from her trauma. It was something she truly enjoyed. And even though she had to go on to an Empower program, it was near a therapeutic riding center. And she insisted upon bringing her boots so that she could continue to be involved in equine therapy, because it's a pretty amazing therapy. So now we can play the video to listen to Lauren about.
The relationship between a horse and a human can be an incredible thing. In today's Horse Heroes, we're talking to a local organization showing you that if you have the magical connection, you can change someone's life. If you drove by this field, you might think you were just seeing people riding horses, but it's much more than that.
We teach kids and adults with disabilities and chronic illnesses how to ride.
And the list of disabilities is as long as the thoroughbred stride.
Cognitively, physically, socially, emotionally, We have a lot of riders who come to us who are on the autism spectrum, who have Down syndrome, who have processing disorders, or are working through some PTSD and trauma.
You're taking someone who's emotionally vulnerable and putting them right next to a large animal they don't know. There's beauty to that.
That can sometimes be a very vulnerable and emotional time. These horses and riders sometimes have walls built up, whether it's for trauma, for anxiety, trust issues with other people and their experiences throughout their life. So for them to now join up with this 900-pound animal and have him say, okay, I trust you, I'm going to blindly follow you around.
Why bring about this magical connection?
I feel empowered and I feel happy and at peace when I'm on the back of a horse. And I want to be able to share that feeling with my clients. And I want my clients to just be happy.
But they're more than just happy. These horses change them. Andrea Kowaleski's daughter has separation anxiety and a mood disorder. But since coming to Albany Therapeutic,
Things have changed so much for her at home. You know, we've seen decreases in her behaviors and her mood has changed. And it's just been like amazing for her and amazing for our family.
it's quite a program, really is.
It is that bond really is something to see as it grows.
Okay, so ATRC's therapeutic riding program does teach adapted riding skills to participants to whatever level is safe and most beneficial for each individual. They learn how to groom the horse, they learn how to saddle the horse. They go out with the instructor to the field and bring the horse in before their lesson. They'll groom the horse, help saddle up the horse, and then, like my trafficked youth, they learn how to ride. They're riding on their own. They're going over jumps like you see in some of these pictures, and really develop a special rapport with the horse that they don't necessarily develop with individuals out in the community. And you know, it's really beneficial for their physical, cognitive, social, and emotional goals. While mounted lessons focus on teaching specific skills related to riding a horse or pony, it improves their core strength, their balance, their fine and gross motor skills, social skills, and communication skills. It's really quite profound and amazing. Next slide. So equine assisted mental health utilizes horse to facilitate the therapeutic process. Participants, as I said, need to learn how to groom, feed, lead their horse, and engage in team building and bonding activities, which is especially important because many of our trafficked youth have such complex trauma. They have a hard time bonding and trusting anyone, and this is one of the first steps to help develop the emotional regulation, self-confidence, and responsibility, which are guided by an equine specialist in mental health. They have a couple of people who are licensed mental health counselors. Lauren Longtoe is their licensed mental health counselor that worked with my trafficked person, and she was phenomenal. And learning can be geared to such groups as veterans and trauma and cancer survivors, people struggling with addiction, anxiety, depression, and behavior disorders. When I first started working with the program, we worked with autistic adolescents from Capital District DDSO in the beginning days of the autism program, when this concept of equine therapy was just beginning way back in 1981. And we saw profound changes in the youth that we worked with, and it certainly has transferred over to working with trafficked youth. Next slide. So this is the organization. ATRC is a PATH accredited therapeutic riding center incorporated in 1981 as a 501c3, started by Chris Lehman, who I worked closely with. We were the first therapeutic riding center in the area. Chris was the founder, board president, and riding instructor. She passed away in 2017, but she truly was devoted. She lived right there at the riding center and just started such a wonderful platform for the Capital Region. So since its beginning, ATRC has provided therapeutic riding lessons for people of all ages and abilities. ATRC is dedicated to helping students gain confidence, independent, physical, cognitive, and emotional development. And it's pretty much run by volunteers. Okay, next slide. So the program is located on Fuller Station Road in Altamont, New York. So it's pretty convenient for Schenectady County and Albany County, and these are the facilities. Okay, next slide. So the conclusion is there's something about the outside of a horse that is good for the inside of a man, from Winston Churchill. And these are some other things. When you cannot walk, let me help you to run. When you are afraid, let me teach you how to trust. When you feel weak, let me help you build your strength. When you can't find your voice, let us speak without words. When you cannot reach, let me raise you up above the world. When you want to give up, let me show you how far you can go. So also horses teach us a lot. Very little of it actually has to do with the horses. But some of the things learned from horses are mindfulness, patience, routine, self-awareness, nonverbal communication, financial sacrifice, and unbridled pleasure. And that's it for Albany Therapeutic Riding Center. And next, you're going to see a picture of one of our trafficked youth who is involved in there we go. She's one of our Schenectady Safe Harbor kids. Okay. And next slide. Next, we have Heather Hutchinson that I work closely with from Create Community Studios. She has just wonderful programs that have benefited our trafficked kids through the years that Create has been around. So Heather, take it away.
Thanks, Melanie. I'm already, it's connecting some dots here that a lot of the panelists, including myself, that you'll hear from this morning, there's lots of themes of empowerment and how the programs that we provide really help with that nonverbal aspect of connecting and processing through trauma. So kind of, I'm glad that I'm following the Therapeutic Riding Center. So as Melanie mentioned, I'm the director, and co-founder of Create Community Studios. We have 2 studios in the Capital Region, one in Schenectady and one in Saratoga Springs. We were formed about 5 years ago because there was a void in the Capital Region for expressive arts and art therapy services. I am a licensed creative arts therapist, and we formed to be able to provide more of a greater outreach in the Capital Region around using art as wellness and mental health, and how people can use art to just benefit themselves. So that has a lot of overlap with folks, kids who've come from trafficked backgrounds, trauma therapy, trauma-informed practices is deep in my background as a therapist. And all of our staff are trained in trauma-informed processes and programs. And a lot of them too come from direct mental health facilities or teaching backgrounds where they've had to do a lot of work with youth with trauma backgrounds. So that's kind of a little bit about us. Well, actually, maybe it would be good to go ahead to the next slide and play our video and hear a little bit from one of our participants. This is Shayla. If you want to go ahead and play the.
I'm Shayla Kerr. I live right here in Schenectady, born and raised. I just knew it was just this safe space where there was a lot of laughter, a lot of fun, and it gave me permission to be myself and to make a mess and to I just very much fell in love with narrative and stories and connecting with people through their stories and seeing them through their stories. That became like just so important to me and allowed me a way to connect with people that I had never met before, seen before. Creativity, and we need art to envision new ways to progress and to make change, because we can't go about it in the same way we have to get new results. Real knowledge is not about getting it right. It's about figuring it out. And I think part of that is allowing yourself to make mistakes and to make a mess, and allows that space, and it allows really amazing, beautiful things to come about.
Thanks. If you want to go to the next slide, kind of some visuals of some of our programs. But as Shayla kind of explained in the video, one of the things we're really big on in Create is letting people make a mess. And I think particularly when you are dealing with a lot of trauma, as many trafficked youth are, or people just dealing with general mental health issues, it's really hard to find a place that you can just go in the community and be yourself. And that's something that we really feel very proud of, is that, you know, during our open studio time or some of our classes and workshops, people are welcome to come in and make a mess, as Shayla said. So we're very much focused on how art and the process of art like allows us to make a mess, but in a really not a structured way, but a contained way. So our staff and our volunteers are there to just kind of listen, give a non-judgmental space for people to express what they want to. And our Open Studio program is one of the really transformative things that we've developed, and it's based on an art therapist named Pat Allen out of Chicago. Really just saw how art can be used, as Jolynn was kind of talking about too earlier, to process stuff. And so it doesn't have to be in a clinical setting with a therapist. It can be in the community. But when it's done in the community, it really needs to be with people who are trained to contain that mess. So that's what we really focus on. And our open studio time has just been this beautiful time of connection where people from all different kinds of backgrounds. We have folks coming from the local YWCA, folks from the community, people who just need art for their own mental well-being, and they come and they join together, and there's laughter and there's tears and they're sharing stories, and it's just astounding to me every week. So that's a huge portion of what we do with Create. We also provide a lot of services at agencies. So we will go into an agency or a school. We provide some expressive arts programs in Albany City schools, for instance, and we're there to just kind of help facilitate how we can use art as another form of social emotional learning and expression. So we do that at different agencies. And then the top photo there that you can see is one of our community projects. So we do a lot of just art in the community. So mural programs, we've been involved in creating some public sculpture and ways where just everyone is welcome, everyone is considered an artist, and whether you just paint a little circle on a wall or whether you create like a whole big portrait, you're still welcome. So that's really the base of what we do. And just like what Jolynn and Nicole and Melanie were talking about earlier, you know, I think the real key piece of our services is that relationship. And you know, Shayla was kind of talking about this in the video, is, you know, she came to Create and then met people she wouldn't have met otherwise. And so that's another form of relationship building and mentoring that happens in a way that's just really beautiful. And you see those relationships blossom where, we've had other people who've dealt with addiction issues and realize that coming to Create is a good, safe, sober space where they can be with people they know are going to be encouraging their sobriety and not enabling them, and really working on empowerment. So I think that's all I have. Did I forget anything, Melanie?
Yeah, if you could just talk a little bit about the Rainbow Garden, because I know
yeah,
youth who found
Thank
great
you.
peace with that. So if you can just talk.
Yeah, I should have included a photo of that. Rainbow Garden Club is an LGBTQ focused program that we run up in Saratoga at Pitney Meadows Farm. And that is a collaboration with Pitney Meadows, Saratoga Pride, the YMCA, and like 5 other organizations where there's a lot of safe space training that goes into the folks that are running the programs. And again, it's a place for LGBTQ youth to find their people, because sometimes it's a hard thing to do. It's hard for them to find the people that they feel accepted with, and they can use whatever pronouns they would like. They can use whatever name they would like, and they're not judged. They're welcomed and encouraged. So that's another program up in Saratoga, which we're working on expanding it back again. We had a pilot program last year in Schenectady that we're going to be working on kind of relaunching again next year.
Yes, and Safe Harbor in Saratoga County and Street Outreach through Captain has also been involved and continues to support and send youth in need there. So that's a really great program.
Yeah, a lot of the Captain Street Outreach folks have directly brought some of their youth to that Rainbow Garden program. And I think that's one of the really special things that we do, is that we are just out in the community. And as our number of the agencies you'll hear from this morning, so it gives people a chance to feel like, okay, so once I leave this agency that they might be getting direct services from, like whether it's Albany County, Schenectady County, this is where our agency is not going anywhere. You're welcome, whether you're receiving direct services from a county or mental health organization, or if you're just someone coming in off the street. So I think that's a really important distinction too, that we're kind of meant to be, I don't love the term wraparound service, but some people look at us that way when we get direct referrals from mental health agencies, Captain, Safe Harbor, for folks to just kind of connect youth with greater community resources.
Thanks. Thanks, Heather. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you impact the community with the summer lunch, Art?
Oh yeah, thank you. Thanks for spurring my memory. The summer lunch program was also, it's a program we've done for a number of years through both Captain and Schenectady Community Ministries in Schenectady. And through some funding with United Way this summer, we were able to greatly expand doing community programs at summer lunch sites. So that was another way we were able to engage with a lot more community members. We were at 4 summer lunch sites in Saratoga County, not just the city, but throughout the county, Clifton Park, Malta, and then in Schenectady at 5 different sites within the city, just offering art projects for kids and families. Whoever showed up on that day was welcome. We gave out a number of, actually really just dozens of art kits at the end of the summer to give kids additional resources as they went back to school. We gave them kits of stuff that they could continue their art practice after the summer was over. So that's another way we engage the community. We try and do as much outreach as we can directly in the community, not just welcoming folks to our studios. It's kind of a dual effort.
Next slide. Okay, next up is Bailey Gardner. And Bailey will be talking about Schenectady County Connects. She's the director of that program, Youth Bureau, and provides a lot of help and support to our trafficked youth. She'll explain about it, but it's made a big impact on so many of our trafficked youth. So Bailey?
Thanks, Melanie. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. I'm excited to talk to you about Schenectady County Connects. Some of you who are familiar with Schenectady's programming might know us as Schenectady Job Training Agency, or the Career Center, or the One Stop. We were having a little bit of an identity crisis. So at the beginning of COVID, we actually rebranded our entire agency. So we are now under the direction of Jennifer Bargy. She is our Director of Workforce Development, and I oversee the youth programming for our agency. So I'm the Senior Workforce Investment Youth Coordinator, as well as the Runaway Homeless Youth Coordinator, and I oversee the Youth Bureau programming. So basically what we do at Schenectady County Connects is just that. We connect people to different employment training and hiring needs within the community. Next slide, please. So our youth-focused initiatives, I'm sure that's what most of you here today are interested in. Our Summer Youth Employment Program is a 6-week program where we hire youth anywhere from age 14, when they can get their first working papers, up through age 24. And we put them to work part-time. And we usually have about 70 different businesses and agencies throughout the community. So they do all sorts of things, from childcare to food service to, we had some people in industries such as P1 industries, manufacturing. So we have all different positions for these youth. And there they can get a really great taste of what it is to have your first job and learn those soft skills that can then translate into future employment. We have a new initiative that is actually on-site college and career preparation. So we've partnered with BOCES, and what we do is we have a COSA agreement where the city school district and Mahonison School District actually buy into our services, and we have someone who is on-site 1 day a week at those schools providing workshops, one-on-one attention to youth who really need some extra help outside of the guidance office to make that career transition. The youth who are prepared to go to college and know what they want to do are on a pretty clear trajectory, but we have some youth who might not know what they want to do, or might want to stay closer to home for family issues or other things that they have going on. And so we want to help those youth transition into something that's going to make them more than minimum wage and is going to have something that will be a sustainable career pathway. We provide tuition assistance and supportive services. So if someone needs a uniform, transportation assistance, childcare, things like that, we can help with all of that. We have a work readiness partnership with juvenile justice, and we have an independent living skills group for youth in care. And with those two partnerships, we see a lot of the most at-risk youth who come through those two agencies. So that is a lot of where our trafficked youth come into play. And so with that, we want to make sure to create those pro-social ties for those youth, whether it is through groups like Independent Living Skills, where we help transition those youth into what it would be like to live on your own and find an employment pathway that is sustainable, or even for the youth who are a part of juvenile justice, how to make different choices to sustain yourself that may not be the same way you've been making money, or maybe something that is a little bit more of a clear pathway outside of the justice system to make sure that they don't end up in the prison system later on. We have a bi-weekly job club where any youth are invited to come and just talk about those soft skill development topics. We go into other things that have more to do with life skills, like healthy relationships, but certainly can have an impact on your job. So if you don't have a healthy relationship and your boyfriend or pimp or whoever is involved with these trafficked youth is visiting you at work and impacting your employment, that can be a very negative consequence long-term for these youth. So we want to make sure they have all of the information to be able to support themselves in the future. And then we oversee the Youth Bureau operations. So most of that money is contracted out to community agencies. Many of you are on here today, so it's nice to see you. But we oversee the Youth Bureau operations for the county as well. Next slide, please. So these are our overall services, and all of our services are free to the community. So what we want to do is get the word out to your friends, your family, and especially your most at-risk youth. So our job seeker services, we can help develop a resume, job search resources and postings. We've developed social media over the pandemic, and we got our own Facebook page, so we were very excited about that. And we post job postings every single day. So if you are looking for a job or know someone who is, please visit our Facebook page. Job application assistance, interview preparation, career counseling. We have online learning courses. So we have a partnership with Metrics Learning, where there are over 5,000 courses you can take in anything from soft skills to Excel to medical terminology, things like that. But these are all free courses that you can sign up for. We provide free monthly workshops, financial aid for training, supportive services like I talked about, fiscal well-being resources. We think that it's important that once you start earning a paycheck that you know how to spend that and save that responsibly. So we do provide those resources as well. And community referrals. It's such an important thing. We can't operate in a silo. We have to partner with community agencies to make sure that these youth and adults are supported and can retain the employment that they obtain as well. And then business services, I just wanted to give a quick plug. I won't go through all of them, but if you do know of a business that could use some support in hiring or retention services, we provide that as well. Next slide, please. Sorry. And then this is just our contact information. So I think, you know, what Melanie and Heather were talking about, the relationship building is just such a key piece of everything that we do. And in order to support the youth, especially those youth that are trafficked and need to find something that provides them the motivation and the pro-social ties and just that self-esteem that they may be lacking from their previous experiences, employment can be a really great pathway, not only to self-sustainability, but just to understanding what opportunities are out there that are more healthy and can lead them to long-term success. So this is our contact information. Please feel free to reach out at any time. I'd be happy to connect with you at any point. And our social media is on there as well. So like I said, our Facebook page, we post absolutely everything on there. And if you'd like to be added to our email list, please just send us a quick email and I'll add you on there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bailey. That was wonderful. Okay, next slide. Okay, next we have a really innovative program that Amy Leisenfelder is going to talk to us about, Schenectady Ring of Hope Boxing Club, which is an approach that we don't see in many communities, but it's really working well for us here in Schenectady. Okay, Amy, take it away.
Yes, good morning, everyone. And first of all, I have to say I'm humbled to be a part of this panel because there's just so many amazing programs that I'm learning about myself. While I work with several of you, I just want to point Jolynn and Nicole, your presentation for Albany County. As an Albany County resident, I'm very proud to be one, see all that you're doing for our youth in our county. So welcome everyone. I'm here to talk to you today about Schenectady Ring of Hope Boxing and some of the youth programs that we have for our trafficked youth and as a prevention tool in our community. So Schenectady Ring of Hope Boxing has been around for almost 20 years. It was founded in 2004 by a former U.S. Marine boxing champion, Coach Vince Kittle, who is still with us today as an executive director. It is a nonprofit that works with other agencies in our community for youth programming. And it might seem a contradiction, if you will, to say that, you know, boxing as a form of self-discipline, but what I have learned from working with the program over the last several years is that is exactly what it is. So they do provide an opportunity for skill building through it, but also that self-discipline, that self-control and self-reliance that is so important for so many of our youth. Next slide, please. So the youth programming that Ring of Hope offers is really in 3 different categories. The primary one is after school programming, which runs year round. That is, so it's a Monday through Friday, as well as Saturdays programming. And it offers a safe environment for students and youth ages 8 on up. They encourage positive attitudes, hard work, and physical fitness. They do this through sessions that are 45-minute sessions followed by 15-minute group discussions. And those group discussions are typically driven by topics that the youth want to talk about. They do sometimes focus on specific themes, but they really, it depends on the makeup of the group. We also have in-school programming. So we push into the schools, both the high school as well as 2 middle schools in Schenectady, and that would be our Peaceful Warriors program. And that typically tends to run about 4 to 6 week programming, and it's used as an outreach tool primarily to reach some of the youth, to engage some of those that typically are harder to reach, and then hopefully have them engaged in our after school programming. And then, while not a primary push, we also have a competitive program where youth compete in amateur Olympic-style boxing groups, and that teaches the fundamentals of boxing. Most, if not all, of the youth in that program have come through our Peaceful Warriors and our after-school programming. And actually, we have, I think we just hired our 4th individual as an instructor who's come up, who started as a Peaceful Warrior. So that's a testament to the power of the program as well. Beyond the actual boxing program and the after school program, though, one of the things of note with Ring of Hope is their engagement in the community. Another component of the program is community service. So a lot of times they will engage in, I know that the youth have helped with Habitat for Humanity. They do a lot of community events to engage family members. So once again, and they also have a collaboration with Union College for mentoring and tutoring of students. Next slide, please. So this is a video, and I apologize, Coach Nasir was supposed to be with us, but he is actually instructing right now, filling in for someone. So this video, though, is highlights some of the youth that we work with, as well as Coach Nasir, who is going to be with us today. And I think it says it better than I could. So with that note, we'll play the video.
Spread them out.
Carefully wrapping the hands of each young fighter, Coach Nas knows.
Gotta make sure you're working hard, man.
The pre-class pep talk is just as important at Schenectady Ring of Hope Boxing Club.
What we are, we're a safe haven for kids. So
the after-school program for kids 8 through 14 has been around for nearly 20 years.
Nice and easy, Jonathan. So look straight.
Hundreds of kids have taken part, and Coach Nasir Mayfield can attest they're better for it.
30 push-ups, go.
He started there as a student.
They're me. I started in the same program, like when I was 12 years old. But I never stopped coming after. Like I just wanted to learn more, and I fell in love with it. Nice and straight. Good job, Imani. If I didn't have the gym, I would have took a different direction, like went left in my life.
Gangs, drugs, guns. Nasir says the gym kept him away from all of that.
Sometimes there's fights at school.
For those same reasons, 13-year-old Simon joined the youth program a month ago.
It can help me stay away from things like that, and can help me stay focused.
This is a 1. This is a 2. This is 1, 2.
A veteran of the youth program, 12-year-old Rudy has been boxing for 2 years.
It made me stronger and made me feel more confident.
I feel very happy because I have learned new skills.
Off the ladder, let's go.
It's fun.
Big step.
I feel strong and everything. It's fun and it's all hard work too.
They may not realize it just yet, but these kids are getting a lot more than a good workout.
Let's go. Go to work.
Patience, dedication, control, confidence. The program focuses on moral strength, emotional health, and cultivating a hopeful outlook.
Just keep working, Emmanuel, too.
Nasir says he sees himself in each one of these fighters, and he sees everything they could grow up to be.
I think like 13 or 14 maybe. This is after I won the silver gloves. So at the end of the day, I know like it gives you a certain level of confidence and a different aura about yourself. just makes life a little bit more not easier, but I guess more comfortable.
For Spectrum News, I'm Sarah Revest.
Okay, and so that's our presentation for the Ring of Hope. I know we're bumping up on the end of our presentation time, I think. So there's our contact information. If anyone would like more, please reach out, and we'd love to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Amy. And some of our trafficked youth have taken advantage of this, as well as staff. I see a comment from Heather Wilson, who is our liaison with Schenectady DSS, CPS. And let me just read her comment, if Heather doesn't mind. Heather said, in her personal life, she's discovered the rewards of boxing, and she's a member of Ring of Hope Boxing Club. She's witnessed firsthand the dedication of the coaches and the staff. The messaging and support provided to youth is amazing. Coach Nass and the rest of the staff push me just as hard as the youth are involved and committed and focused and productive. And that kind of says it all. Thank you, Heather, for saying
Yes,
that.
Heather, thank you. You say it so well, and that's why I wish Coach Naz was here. I know I'm not doing it justice, all the amazing work they do, so thank you for those kind words.
And this is a great preventative service for our youth here in Schenectady and beyond. So
it is. That's, I think the prevention is the primary focus of this, is giving the youth the tools they need in life, as well as, some of the push-in services, even within the program. They've started a new mentoring program, wisdom sharing. They've done 2 of them, where they're bringing in community members who are talking about their life experiences and just giving advice in their open discussion forums, and they've been very well received. So really that community model of service is and positive youth development, framing of everything they do makes it just really stand out, a unique program.
Okay, next slide. Okay, last program we're going to discuss is the Working Group on Girls of Schenectady. And one of our tenants, and I'm actively involved in Working Group on Girls myself. Working Group on Girls exists because girls need to build meaningful connections for healthy relationships and a successful future. We give social and emotional support to middle and high school girls, and actually we've expanded to elementary schools as well, as providing safe spaces and connections for them to develop their own voices. A little bit about Working Group on Girls. We've been around since 2004, but we really started to get active back in 2008 and 2009 when we had a suicide cluster in Schenectady. I believe we lost 11 young BIPOC girls in Schenectady over the course of 2 years, related to we lost them to suicide and related to gang involvement. And it was a terrible time in Schenectady. And we found the girls at that point didn't have meaningful connections or necessarily healthy relationships, and didn't have trusted adults to talk to be muses. So we started the Working Group on Girls. And as I said, now we're currently in 4th and 5th grades in our Schenectady elementary schools, as well as all 3 middle schools in Schenectady, and in the high school and the Steinmetz Career and Learning Academy, which is the alternative school. And we'll be expanding to the Seat Center, which is a program for youth over 18 to 24 to learn job skills and life skills and get their GED. So what do our girls' circles do? We meet sometimes weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, depending on the school. And we talk about self-esteem. We talk about healthy relationships. We talk about making connections. We talk about what the girls want and need to talk about. Each circle, while we do have guidelines, we let the muses develop a relationship with the girls. We give them lunch. Sometimes the circles are held at lunchtime, sometimes after school. We feed them because it's a big motivator, but they get to talk about in their own voices what is going on, what they're afraid of, how the pandemic impacted them, how community violence impacts them. So, we do that, and we're just starting out a new season of that. Every year we have Girls Day Out, which is where we take about 150 7th grade girls to a venue. We've gone to Glenn Sanders many years in the past, and we have workshops all day long for the girls about, yes, I can get the curriculum for you, where we talk about living through middle school. We talk about bullying. We talk about health. We talk about those things that are important and worrying the girls. And as I said, that's for about 150 girls. We used to do it in the fall, but we're going to be doing it as a culmination event. This past year, we did our Girls' Day Out at Camp Chinchacook, which is a YM camp up in Lake George, and had ropes course and day-long sessions outdoors of skill building, team building, leadership building. We also do a summer program in connection with Schenectady Intercity Ministry and the Schenectady Urban Farms, where youth will, including some of our trafficked youth, will go and work at the urban farms during the summer for 4 weeks and get a stipend for working there. And we've just started a new program, which is called Fresh, which will be in the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high school. And it is in conjunction with the Schenectady Intercity Ministry, the urban farms, the community kitchen, and we're going to be working on farm to table, growing the food, harvesting the food, preparing the food, taking a look at entrepreneurship with the Schenectady Green Market, involving families and more healthy eating. So that program will be starting full throttle in January, and we are very excited about it. I can't do justice in the few short minutes that we have, but it is amazing. So let's give a listen to the video in the next slide and hear what a girl circle sounds like. Oh, you know what? So I'll just do a little bit more about the girl circle. So safe spaces, non-judgmental, inspire the girls to find their voices, social emotional support, healthy relationships, friendships, empowering resiliency. And we do have some of the girls circles are run by community muses, but we also have a lot of clinicians in the Schenectady School District who stepped up to run circles. And previously, when we have just community muses, we do have clinicians involved in each circle as well, school district clinicians. As we talked about, Girls' Day Out, it's about making connections, the day for girls, workshops, good fun, laughter, inspiring and empowering. And our Fresh program, as I said, stands for food, resiliency, education, socialization, health, fun, exploring, and empowering life skills. So now we will move on to the video.
Sometimes I feel like really sad, and I think my mind doesn't understand that, how I feel. And then when I come to Girls Circle, I think like I'm feeling much better because we can talk about our problems. It's helped me because I can talk to them about my feelings and how I'm feeling outside of Girls Circle and what's going on in school, and don't have to be afraid to say what's on my mind because I know the girls in Girls Circle won't judge me.
The Working Group on Girls is a volunteer organization of women who work with girls in the Schenectady City School District.
Unfortunately, I come across a lot of girls who have experienced different types of trauma. Poverty is a big part of Schenectady. Failure to graduate high school is a big part. Early pregnancy.
The Working Group on Girls believes that every girl has the inherent strengths and abilities to be successful, but what we realized were a lot of girls didn't believe in themselves and didn't have a voice.
We want to do as much as we can to help reduce the dropout rate for girls, reduce the pregnancy for girls, and create a positive path to college or career. something that's going to sustain them, get them out of poverty, and help them along the way to make an impact in their community in the future.
Sometimes we talk about girls and all this stuff. That makes me feel like girls are really powerful, that we can do really like better things, that we can go higher.
You have girls that you can relate to, you can talk to, and I think you just have like your own team ready to back you up. I think that's what it's about.
Thanks, everyone. As Melanie said, if you have a question or some feedback, you can feel free to put it in the chat and we will get to that. I just have to say, one of the things that I really took away from this presentation and that I love about the work that we all do is how creative you can be with it, right? We saw athletics, we heard about gardening, we heard about art, we heard about animals. So really it's you can find something that will work for your young person. So my question would be, I feel like we're in a unique situation in the Capital District where we have access to, because the racetrack is here, we have access to horse farms, we have access to things of that nature. If people want to build these types of partnerships with community partners who are normally not, maybe we're thinking a little bit outside the box. Were you guys like cold calling? Were they reaching out to you? How did those partnerships come to be? And that's for anybody who wants to answer.
I'll start with that. In Schenectady and in Albany, we're all kind of interrelated. In Schenectady, Amy, Heather, myself, speaking as Safe Harbor, and Bailey, speaking as part of Safe Harbor and Working Group on Girls. We're all kind of interrelated. And we have a Schenectady Youth Coalition that meets bi-weekly. So we talk about it. We've worked over the years to develop these relationships. And, as I said, Jolene used to be in Schenectady, used to do programs with her way back to 2015, 2016, 2017. So we all have been working at this for a while and building these supportive relationships of each other. So, that's how we do it. We collaborate. This is long-standing, way back to the suicide cluster. We work together. There aren't really any silos, at least in Schenectady. We're all on the same team, and I think Heather and if Aurelia's on the thing, and Julie Copeland. I mean, we've been working at this for a very long time to support our youth, and Bailey has been part of it. So that's my take. Anybody else, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I agree with Melanie. It is a lot of networking, going to community meetings, knowing the programs that are out there. But I also don't mind cold calling or cold emailing. The worst they can do is say no. So I'm constantly looking for different creative ways to launch projects and get into the community. So I'll find contact information online and just do cold calls or cold emails.
Yeah, I'm also not afraid to harass people.
That too.
That's what I was going to say. On the provider side of things, we do get a lot of calls or emails of I'm looking for this type of program. I see someone even just put in the chat, do we have other programs for teens in Schenectady? So yeah, and we are constantly reevaluating at Create, like what is the need? So in answer to the question about teen programs, we kind of had put some of those to the side during COVID. A lot of it was being done through direct outreach with one of our instructors is an English teacher at Schenectady High. So she was doing a lot of direct outreach through us, but knew the students who needed that extra support. So it's kind of a variety of different avenues. So I think for those who are in rural areas, because I can speak to our Saratoga program, Saratoga County is huge and encompasses a lot of rural area too. We do a lot of collaboration with agencies. So yeah, if you're an agency that is looking for something, reach out to us or whatever you think that your youth would benefit from. Like, we're always looking for those collaborations. So I think maybe hopefully it answered that question about the starting programs in very rural areas.
Yeah, I'll just read the question again in case
Yeah.
anybody else wants to pipe in. Any ideas or suggestions on starting any of these types of programs in very rural communities who do not already have businesses established to partner with? Anybody?
Yeah, just reach out.
Yeah.
Call us, email us.
What's available in your community? Like
Right.
Albany Therapeutic Riding Center. I mean, I met Chris Lehman years ago because I'm an equestrian myself, and she and I were at a week-long training years ago in my youth, late 70s, and we started talking about doing therapeutic riding, and I was just starting my career, working in the autism program at ODHEC Developmental Center. We talked about what a neat thing it was, and another one of our cohort was the director of the physical therapy program at Russell Sage, and she was like, "Yeah, we can use this." So it just starts with a little bit of a thought. And in rural areas, look at your community assets. Do you have somebody who's interested in art, or an art teacher that would like to volunteer and start doing workshops, or somebody in music or dance? I mean, small communities have assets they sometimes don't even think about developing. And just one quick answer to Estelle asked about how do we fund Working Group on Girls. In all my free time, I write grants for them. And I've been doing that since I retired from the state. So we're funded by grants and through fundraisers, much as is Create and Ring of Hope. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think another resource that I know some of our other Safe Harbor programs, and not that this is just specifically relevant to Safe Harbor, is if in your community or nearby you have a local community college or you have a local higher education program, those students often need and want service hours. And obviously you want to make sure they're an appropriate fit depending on the population that they're working for. So, I mean, you may have a professor there or a grad student who has a specific talent or thing that they'd like to share. Maybe it's an athlete who has experience with Taekwondo and they'll be willing to teach Taekwondo or some form of the martial arts to young people 1 or 2 days a week. Really tapping into what your resources are and what the youth in your community want. And I think somebody said that earlier, like finding out what that one thing is for that young person that's really going to make them feel safe, respected, heard, seen, and really tapped into that. And there's also a lot of like national organizations. And I know that my daughter just got involved with, and I'm going to screw the name up, Girls Run or Girls Who Run. And it works with young inner city youth. And my daughter's a runner, obviously. And you run with them. And then there's like a big race event, like a 5K at the end. And so she's doing that because she loves to run, but she also wants to do some service hours. And Girls on the Run. Thank you, Kelly Harvey. I was close. It's new. So really like finding out what works with that young person. And I just also want to reiterate something that, and maybe you guys could piggyback on this. Earlier, somebody said, and forgive me, I cannot recall who, make sure that the provider that you're working with or the community partner has the ability and the skills to work with these young people, right? Does anyone want to speak some more to that? Because I think that's super important.
Well, that is important because every now and then we get somebody who will, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to teach the kids coding, or we're going to teach the kids this or that. And sometimes they're all talk, or they really have no skills to work with the youth. They understand their own skill, but they don't understand how to work with a youth who's been trafficked, a youth who's involved in juvenile justice. So you have to screen that a bit to make sure it's a good fit with the youth that you're working with.
Yeah, I agree. Kim Noble says, not only do you need the skills, you must also love what you do. It needs to come from your heart. Absolutely. I think that's the key element, right? That you're really there for the right reasons and that you have the patience and you really make those partnerships and that collaboration meaningful to that young person. What city is that located? What city is that located in? How do people find programs for like 4th through 7th graders? Bessie, I'm not sure when you say what city you're referring to. I know many of the programs that we spoke about today are all in the capital region. But maybe we can make this a generic question. How would people go about finding programs for more of that middle school age, which we know is crucial? Is it the same process?
Well, get to know your community and your community resources. I know in Schenectady County, the library is an important partner. They can tell you what programs are going on, and they're part of a number of our committees, and so they have a pretty good pulse on what is going on. Get involved with your school district. I know in Schenectady County, they have, we have, which some of us are members of, a community school partnership. And they've hired community liaisons to work with all of us who are out in the community to help find out what needs there still are, to let everybody else know what's going on. So your library, your school district, your youth bureau.
I was just going to say the youth bureau, usually their site has a ton of resources. So if you go to your area's youth bureau website, you can usually find resources. They go by age and they have a lot of information.
I was going to say the same thing because the youth bureaus actually fund a lot of the community agencies. So those who receive funding from the youth bureau would definitely be able to be connected through that.
We are just about at time, so I want to thank all of our panelists for being here today. I know how busy you all are, and I truly, truly appreciate your willingness to share with us. And I wasn't familiar with many of these programs, so I was super excited to learn about them. I want to thank all the participants for being here today. We will send out materials after the fact, as well as the recording will be up in the next few weeks. And thank you again. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you at 1:00. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.